Hi everybody, this is Black Rhino Ranger. Sorry about the yesterday where I had a bit of an internet problem. Apparently, thanks to some pottery movements, my internet, it kind of tangled the wires of the internet and caused me to be offline for about 24 hours. Thanks to some repairmen, I managed to get it fixed. And now, to make this all up, I might as well make another video to show you that I am okay. Now, I have quite a number of animations planned. I mean, I've recently uploaded one exclusive to Patreon. It's a deleted scene from Sky Wars Part 1. That particular scene has something that I think might be a bit too extreme for YouTube standards. So I'm having it Patreon exclusive. It's only for those who can handle the weirdness. So anyways, for this video, I decided to try on using a a tier list. I heard these things are kind of trending on the internet for about a few years, and people have been making it. Even Saber Sparks has made it for his crushes. So for this occasion, I was thinking, my first of the bunch would be my Legends of the Hidden Temples crossover videos. And for those who don't know about my Legends of the Hidden Temple crossover music videos, they're not music videos, crossover videos. They're basically I look at an episode of Legends of the Hidden Temple. Olmec tells this tale of a legendary item, for example, the broken wing of Icarus, or the mysterious manuscript of Mary Shelley, or Pecos-Bill's lost hammer. It tells a story about it, and for my occasion, I use clips from a variety of different shows and movies and games, and I integrate that into Olmec's stories. Whether it's true or not, or exaggerated, or completely made up, I don't know. And I've done this since 2013. Though I had a 3-year hiatus, I came back again with 2016 to 2018. Ever since they made the Legends of the Hidden Temple move me, and they even had a Loud House crossover with Legends. So, looking back at them, now there's still a bit of fun looking back at them, but which ones are my absolute favorites, and which are the ones which I like, but I noticed I could have done a bit better, or which are the ones I do not like at all, and I wish I could have done a lot better with them. So, for this list, I'll try and remember, because these thumbnails, it's gonna be a bit hard to remember what it's gonna be a bit difficult to remember their names. So I'll see if I can try and remember as I and I'll also be talking about a little bit of history for why I chose these clips. There was originally supposed to be in the order, because now I originally was supposed to put this in an order of either the episode's first airings, as in the official episodes of the Hidden Temples airings, or when I made the videos. But unfortunately, I ended up having this in a different order instead. It's all jumbled up. So, anyways, let's not dilly-dally. Let's not delay any longer. Let's see which one is my absolute favorite and which one is my absolute least favorite by these tiers. First up is Alexander and the Gordian Knot with Phineas and Ferb. Now this one, now by the way, this is also unscripted. So now this one I actually thought about. Now, when I noticed that Phineas and Ferb had an episode about the Gordian Knot, I was like, how can I do that? How can I include Phineas and Ferb with the Gordian Knot? So after trying to look up to see if there's any more Phineas and Ferb episodes that had something about Greek mythology and stuff like that, or Greek something like that, but there are some, and even some Thronish or medieval or whatever, something like that. It did have some. They had Troy Story It had, I think it was that movie convention episode where the space versus the mythological movie fans, and the of course the Gordian knot episode where they make the most complicated knot in the world. And I think it's also the one with Perry the Platypus where Dr. Doofenshmirtz makes this device that makes you super hungry. So, anyways, where's my take on this? Where do I put this? I actually now it does have a few. Now I will admit I could have done a little bit better with it, but I think it's pretty good, and I do enchant it, so I'm going to put this as one of my absolute favorites. Next up, Blackbeard's treasure map. Now fun fact, Blackbeard's treasure map was the first Hidden Temple episode in production order, but it didn't get completed until later. And this one was one of my highly requested videos to be made, using Blackbeard with Pirates of the Caribbean. In matches, now I didn't have a lot of material to work with because what Olmec's telling of Blackbeard is a bit of a head scratching. He says he said once he made a man eat his own ears. So where do I put this one? I think I'll put this one right over here. And by the way, the treasure map scene wasn't from Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger. Much of it was from Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, except for the map part. That one was from At World's End. So I'm just gonna put it at good but a few flaws. Elizabeth's gold ship with The Simpsons. Now originally I had a rule that I should not include more than three of the same franchise into the Legend of the Hidden Temple thing, as I give each franchise a bit of a fair shot. But I broke this rule for The Simpsons because Elizabeth I, the more you think about it, isn't represented well in a lot of media, and The Simpsons is perhaps the best one I could find. Now, of course, because of copyright, I had to put a little smog thingy around it so I wouldn't get copyrighted. And for what it's worth, it's pretty good. So I'm just going to put it as one of my absolute favorites. And this one here I came across a bit by accident. I was looking up what can I use for Galileo? What can I use for Galileo? I looked up online. I noticed there was a cartoon series called Animated Hero Classics, and they said, and it shows animated versions of the past people, like for example Galileo, Harriet Tubman, Florence Henderson, Helen Keller, etc., even Pocahontas. I took a look at Galileo and I thought it fitted perfectly. The only thing I was scratching my head within Olmec's telling is that the whole cheese and pepperoni sandwich thing, inventing the first pizza thing, that never happened in real life. I mean, pepperoni pizza happened after Galileo's lifetime. But despite that, I did find something to help with that. Like there's this little disc thingy that where Galileo was placing his planets on. It kind of looks a bit like pizza in a sense. So despite that flaw, I'll have Galileo as one of my favorites. Now here's another Simpsons crossover, Henry VIII's Great Seal. Now again, I had to put a little fog over it to make sure copyright doesn't strike me from Fox. But I thought it works out pretty well. The other candidate I was thinking maybe Hysteria, but sorry, a bit of a talk. But I'll talk about Hysteria later. So I'll include. So, but for what I got with The Simpsons, pretty good. I remember seeing this episode as a kid, and I liked it very well. So it's one of my absolute favorites. Now this one's a bit of a strange one because this is, as of now, and probably for a very long time, my highest viewed of my Legends of the Hidden Temple crossover videos. It's about over 300,000 views. None of the other videos have gotten the closest. Even my second most viewed is only about 30,000 views. This one is 300,000 views. And that led me curious. So why this one? Why did this one suddenly gain the biggest views? Unfortunately for me, though, it's not my absolute favorite, but I do think it's still pretty good. So I'll put this a little bit on the bottom. This one, John Sutter. This one I kind of regret. I really do not like this one. Yes, it's using Bill Ted's Excellent Adventure, and it actually does have John Sutter, but the material I had to work with within Olmec's telling, it's just so minimal. I did not feel pleased with this one. I mean, it may have John Sutter and it may have things, but this is one thing I regret, so I'm putting it right over here. King Tut's Cobra Staff with the Three Stooges. When I was looking up King Tutankhamun, I noticed the Three Stooges were listed in some trivia. They made up a character named King Rootin' Tootin'. How many? Well, I think there's a better way you could use that. King Tuck Your Shirt In. So, now it wasn't really about. Now the legend isn't really about King Tut, but rather the archaeologist named Howard Carter. And since the Three Stooges acted as archaeologists, might as well use that. And for what it's worth, it may be a bit head-scratching at times, but I think it's pretty good. So, but I'm putting this as one of my absolute favorites. Lawrence of Arabia with G1 Transformers. Yeah, I was thinking about using the Lawrence of Arabia movie, but I haven't seen that movie, and it's like 3 hours long. And back at the time, my patience wasn't very. I could only stomach for something that's about 3 hours. That is until I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I did want to use something that was Transformers related, and I thought that a couple of Arabian episodes of would work fine for Lawrence of Arabia. Although the season 3 Arabian episodes are what made Casey Kasem, the guy who voiced Blue Streak and Cliffjumper, quit the Transformers. Because he was a Southwest Asian descent. So where do I put this? I could have done better with it, so I'll put it right over here. Pickles Bill's Lost Lair with the Disney version. Admittedly, I should have paid attention more to the film I was using rather than just using the film right away. I mean, it is Pickles Bill, and I thought, that's all I need. But I didn't see the full thing, so I probably should have. Some people, and yeah, some bits where I find I had to cut and stuff. Some people found it confusing. So, for me, I'll just put it not bad, but I could have done better. That's all I have to say, really. A fun fact, Melody Time, which the Pickles Bill short was made in, is sometimes used as an alternate prize plug for the Legends of the Hidden Temple things. The parts where Kirk Fogg goes, "You're not gonna go in way empty-handed. Here's what we got for you." Sometimes they'll offer some gifts like videos of Return of Jafar or videos of Melody Time from Disney. And I was surprised that Nickelodeon is allowing Disney products to be sold. And this is not the only Melody Time short. I'll be talking about another one later down the line. And here is Ponce de Leon and the Fountain of Youth with Pre-Body's Improbable Histories. This is the only legend that doesn't have the item of the legend in the title. And the item, of course, is the water bottle. upon from the Fountain of Youth, and not very fond of it. I mean, I probably should have chose something else. Maybe I should have chosen Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, because that one actually had more of the Fountain of Youth and something like that. But it did have Indians, and so I'm not exactly the biggest fan of it one, but I think it works out fine. Robin Hood and Marion Silk Ladder with Disney's Robin Hood. Instantly, the Disney one came to my mind. Although there are plenty of other Robin Hood incarnations, I probably should have chose those instead. This one came to my mind the most, and it was the easiest to obtain. The only scene I'm not the biggest fan of is with the Maid Marian screamed and cried and stamped her feet. I think I could have done a lot better with that one. So I'm just going to put it right over here. The Emiliano Zapata of the Applewood Amulet of Emiliano Zapata. Now this one, when I was trying to find that legend of it, I was like, why does that story sound familiar? So then I was thinking about Bug's Life, and I was like, wait a minute, Bug's Life. And I mean, in the story of the Emiliano Zapata, the owners, the government locked up the orchard, and then they so how do I say this? The people who were trying to live off the farms, they say, without our orchard we will starve, and but the government wouldn't allow it. So Emiliano Zapata came in with 80 armed men and revolted against the government, and their people later lived in peace. This is a similar story to A Bug's Life. The ants were harvesting for the grasshoppers. The grasshoppers are keeping the ants in line and stuff, and Flicks goes away to get some big bugs to help bite off against the grasshoppers. This is kind of what it reminds me of. Emiliano Zapata's story is like A Bug's Life, in a sense. So I'm going to place it right over here. It's one of my favorites. Now this one over here, the belly button of Buddha, the thing I used is not from any movie, any game, or any TV show or stuff like that. It was based on something I did in real life. Visit an actual Buddhist temple. In this case, it was the Kikloksi Temple in Penang. I did some filming there. I even asked some friends to act as the British invaders who attacked the Buddhist temple. I bought a jade statue, which is like a jade belly button, and I even bought a bell and used the sink as the river to sink the bell. And I'm very proud of it. Now this one is another one I had trouble with. The bent shaving pan of Jedediah Smith. First of all, there's no such thing as a bent shaving pan. I mean, if you look up shaving pan on the internet, the legend is the first thing that pops up. So I had to figure out how to do this one. Thankfully, I managed to find a clip of Steven Spielberg's Into the West, which features Jedediah Smith. And I decided, it's good enough. So I'll put this right over here. Now, the bifocal monocle of One-Eyed Jack with the pirate family. I'm actually surprised not a lot of people remember the pirate family. It was almost completely absent on the internet. I remember seeing a bit of it as a kid. It has this pirate father who has a crew and stuff, but he's also a family guy. It took me some... Now, the story of the bifocal monocle is pretty made up. I tried looking up online where I can find the One-Eyed Jack or Bluebeard. I mean, Bluebeard is not really a pirate. He's based on a French fairy tale about this man who does away with his wife secretly. And when it comes to One-Eyed Jack, let me ask you, what do you ever think of One-Eyed Jack without thinking about the Loud House? Now, I actually made this video before I fully got into the Loud House. This was in 2017. Back then, the only time I was I tried doing something Loud House related was watching the Treasure episode, watched the Hidden Temple crossover, watched a few episodes of My Grandma's House, but in 2018, that's when I decided I want to get into the show. Oh, but this one, I decided to just have it as it is with, how do I say this? The one-eyed Jack part is, okay, what was I, So the one-eyed Jack part is pretty made up on the legend. And Bluebeard is not a pirate. He's a fairy tale monster person. But what I chose was a pirate family, which had some swapping clothes, and Santa Claus could be one-eyed Jack. I think it works out pretty well. It's not perfect, but I think it's... I probably could have done it a bit better, but I'll just place it over here for now. Actually, I actually kind of like it. Actually, it's pretty good. It has a few flaws, but I think it's pretty good. Now, the bone necklace of the Blackfeet Chief. I didn't know if I could do this one because the main focus is not really on the Blackfeet Chief, but it's supposed to focus on Lewis and Clark, or even his this person named York, a black person named York, and I wasn't sure how to sit this all in. For some reason, Family Guy popped in my head because they often have clips of or cutaways of Lewis and Clark, and since this is about African Americans, Native Americans, and the whites and the Caucasian Americans, I thought maybe Family Guy could be in. I mean, they have episodes about races all the time. And of course, I had to put in a white circle because of, copyright and stuff. And I also had to take a few clips from Seth MacFarlane's Cavalcade of Comedy, which is pretty infamous, saying that these cutaway gags are not funny enough to be on Family Guy. I don't know. This one is a bit of a head-scratcher for me. I'm not sure if I like it or don't like it. So I'm going to put this right in the middle. Now, this one was requested, the Bonnet of Dolly Madison with My Life as a Teenage Robot. Somebody asked me, why don't you use the episode where Jenny has this little music thingy he has for Donnie Madison? I tried to look at that, but I didn't think it was enough material, so I watched more episodes of My Life as a Teenage Robot, and I tend to focus on the ones that have this, I've forgotten their names, they're like this police thing, and they seem to fit in fine as the British General Ross, and with Nora Wakeman, who, by the way, shares the same name of the same first name of my mother, just with an extra letter, which I won't say. Let's see. I thought about, and after watching it, I thought it was pretty enough. And a little bit of a bonus is Nora Wakeman once had this line when she was homeschooling Jenny. Now, if we go with something like the War of 1812, so let's pick it up from there. So I enjoyed it, so I'm just going to put it right over here. Ah, yes, the broken trident of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Now, immediately the Little Mermaid popped in my head. The other option was Hercules, since that actually had a character named Poseidon, but I think the Little Mermaid version is a lot closer. And I used clips from all three of the Little Mermaid movies and a bit of the TV series. And I thought it worked out pretty well. Yes, his name is Trident, but he acts more like Poseidon than Trident. I mean, the Trident in Hercules is a lot different, and he's the son of Poseidon. So I thought maybe, I think he's one of my absolute favorites. I know some people don't like The Little Mermaid, but I think it's a classic. The song Under the Sea, still love it to this day. It was the first song I used for Gil Grunt. Oh, and a fun fact, the Broken Trident of Poseidon is one of the few episodes in Legends of the Hidden Temple where the person manages to pick up the artifact in the temple and and thankfully was unable to encounter any of the temple guards. The sad thing is, amongst those episodes, they didn't win the grand prize. She dropped the artifact, and man, oh dear, had midway to the thing, it's like, oh dear, oh man, she could have been so lucky. Anyways, over here we have, speaking of Hercules, we have the broken wing of Icarus. Now, this one I always wanted to do a Legend of the Hidden Temple. It was my 6th crossover video. And the thing that pops in my head the most was Disney's Hercules, having a character named Icarus. And he often flies up too high in the sky, especially in the Trojan episode and it was in the Trojan episode and the Medusa episode. And I really like this one. The only thing I don't like about it is the part with Daedalus. I think I could have done that part a bit better. And maybe a bit of the Griffin. I could have actually found it. Maybe there was an actual eagle part. Yeah, I think I should have used the eagle part with Prometheus, where he has his liver pecked and stuff. But aside from those, I really do like this legend. Now, this one is the Bell Boy, the bullet-riddled bag of Bell Boy using the 2017 Wonder Woman. It's not bad, but maybe I should have chose a better candidate. I mean, although I don't think Bell Boy was represented very well in media. Maybe I should have chose something else. Maybe I should have looked at the 70s Wonder Woman, the one with Linda Carter for it instead. But I thought, maybe this one ain't so bad. I'll just put it right over here. Don't know what else to say about it. And the Code Book of Mata Hari, it has a Looney Tunes character named Hata Mari. And she's like a spy. And there's only one bit I don't like, and it's the bit where she holds in the gun during the point where Olmec says the people figured out she was a double agent and had her arrested. I think I should have chose something else for that. And I should have chosen a little something. And the firing squad part, I could have used the one from Fresh Hair, the Looney Tune part where it features a fat Elmer hunting Bugs Bunny down, and at the end, Bugs is like blindfolded, and the firing squad was about to fire at him, and then Elmer's like, "You only have one last wish. You may wake if you want." And Bugs is like, I'm wishing. I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. Then it has a controversial ending where Bugs and the firing squad and Elmer were singing, "Camptown ladies sing their song, doo-da, doo-da. The Camptown racetracks, Mama's long home, a doo-da day." But, yeah, I think this one is pretty good. It just has that bit of a flaw that prevents it from being my absolute favorite, but I think it's pretty good. The Davy Crockett episode. Born on a... That song still sticks in my head. Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. I still love that song. Now, it was not easy. I have not seen the actual Davy Crockett Disney movies, but the best I could find was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon about Davy Crockett. And admittedly, it wasn't the best option I chose. I mean, there was no raccoon, there was only a bear, and there was no collar, so I had to do a lot of improvising on this part. Not the biggest fan of it, but I think I'm putting this, put this right in the middle. William the Conqueror. Now, I am aware about the Michael Bay Transformers films. they've gotten worse and worse over the years, but I thought the Transformers Last Night part was a perfect opportunity for me to use William the Conqueror. Not only because the Last Night had knights and stuff, and it takes place in England, and there were some flags, but the first Transformers movie had meteors. Yes, this is where I thought maybe it would fit well for the comet embroidered flag of William the Conqueror. So I think it was pretty good, so I'm just going to place it over here. I could have done a bit better with it, but I think it does work fine. Here's the cracked crown of the Spanish king, and I'm using the Simon Bolivar episode of the 2001 Horrible Histories. Now, I have read Horrible Histories, the book, as a kid, but not very much. And I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of its animation style. But I think it kind of works fine, but I still think this one's a bit of a head scratch. It works out fine, but I think I should have chosen something else. I could have chosen something better. So I'm just going to put this as not bad, but I could have done better. And this one, the Crown of Queensinger, was one of those hidden temple legends that I always wanted to try and find. I wasn't able to find it, but at the very least I was able to do it pretty... thanks to Time Warp Trio, I was able to find it pretty fine, and it's pretty accurate for what it was done. Yes, the animation is very flashy and stuff, but I think the story they told was very accurate to the legend. So I'm putting it as this. The only thing I don't really like is how I ended, is the ending. I think I should have worked on the ending a bit. Yes, this one here is Henry Stanley. Is the Diary of Dr. Livingstone, with, just like the John Sutter one, is the Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure crossover. But I kind of stomached this one a bit more. I kind of stomached this one a bit more, so I'm gonna place it right over here. It has its flaws, sure, but I think it's not that bad. And the diary pit, I could have worked a little better. Oh, Ivan the Terrible. Now this is where I used Hysteria, and I'll be honest, I should have chosen something else, or watched more of Hysteria before blindly choosing that episode just because it has Ivan the Terrible. I should have watched more Hysteria episodes because I heard some of the historical figures made returning moments. I mean, Attila the Hun I remember seeing more of it, but I should have watched a bit more of that so I get a better knowledge with Hysteria before using it for this. So I'm just going to put this here. Yeah, the only perk I can think of for this one is that it at least has the part where they decide how do they go with the name. Like, Ivan the Terrible tries to find a different name rather than Ivan the Great or Ivan the Kind. That's the only good sign of it. But aside from that, I should have tried something. I should have watched more Hysteria or found another candidate. The Dragon Lady in the Blue Pearl with the Legend of Korra. I actually adore Korra. Now, I know not a lot of people adore it, or at least like Korra, or like it as much as Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I like Korra fine. So, and I think the Dragon Lady thing, I think works very well. The only odd thing is that I casted Korra as Captain John Smith. But but aside from that, I think it works out pretty well. Heck, during the part where Olmec says the treacherous Dragon Lady ordered the Chinese to attack all the foreigners, and somebody made a comment, the Earth Queen would so do this. So despite that bit of flaw, I find it pretty. I like it very much. Let's see, what was I? Maybe I should have chosen Tang Xing as Captain John Smith instead. Yes, William Tell. Now here's a funny thing. This is not what I used for William Tell is the limited animated TV series of Popeye, where the shorts were very rushed, very short, and often like a punchline. But I find them a saint compared to the 29 Popeye Sea Adventures cartoon on YouTube, and that was a disgrace. But I wasn't aware that Popeye actually did another short made with William Tell. It was an earlier one, like Popeye meets William Tell. But I thought this one was the closest to the Legend of the Hidden Temple one, so I used that. Does it have its problems? Sure, but I think it's pretty good. Now this one was another request, the dried acorn of Sojourn of Truth with Codename Kids Next Door. I thought it worked out pretty. I didn't think I would do it at first, but then I remember some episodes where number 5 was delivering some, was undercover, sneaking around, and actually brought in some goods. I was like, oh, so Sojourn of Truth actually did something like that, so I think number 5 would fit in well. Now, because I didn't have enough material, I also used bits from the crossover between Billy and Mandy and Kids Next Door. So, in the end, things worked out pretty well. So, I think I'll just place it over here. It's one of my favorites. The Electrified Key of Benjamin Franklin. I think I should have used a bit of Hysteria with this one, since Animaniacs, Pinky the Brain, and Hysteria were animated by the same people. So I think, but what I've used is alright. Not great, but I liked it fine. So it's good, but it has a few flaws, so I'm placing it over here. The Enormous Feather of the Mealy. The Mealy. Now this was using Milo. Now the story focuses on the Trung sisters, the queens of Vietnam. And by the way, back in January 2020, I actually visited Vietnam. I don't know if I remember visiting the museum or the Palace of the Trung sisters, but I did have a great time in Vietnam. I was scared at first because it was home to the largest rhinoceros horn trade, but after a visit there, I thought it was fine. And sadly, that would be my last trip around the world before the pandemic happened, and I haven't been anywhere else since. Anyways, because the Trung sisters hasn't been represented very well in media, except for that YouTube series I found. I think this is the best I could find, and some of it is completely made up. The Mi Li is not an actual mythical bird. It's actually a name of a district somewhere in Vietnam. So I had to think of really hard for this one. And one thing that popped in my head was My Little Pony with the feathers and the sisters like Celestia and Luna. Thought the feathery part would be would go over the phoenix. And despite the inaccuracy and stuff like that, I think it's pretty swell. This is one of my absolute favorites. Now this one is one of the only 2 Legend crossovers I made that took place in 2013. After that, I had a 3-year hiatus because I couldn't find the clips. It was not easy finding clips for the others, so I chose the Paul Bunyan one. Now, the Legends of the Hidden Temple was the first time I actually heard of the Paul Bunyan one, or at least I knew about the Paul Bunyan part. So I looked up Paul Bunyan, and I noticed that Disney had a short based on it. So I looked at it, and I immediately, this is an easy fit. This was my first attempt. I'll place it here. It could have used a bit of toning, sure, but I really adore it. The Golden Chains of Zenobia. Now, how many of you know about Zenobia? I guarantee that she is not very well known. It's because of that I had to find some liberties or take some drastic measures in order to find something Egyptian related. I remember a couple of Justice League episodes with Hawk Girl and Green Lantern's ancestors or reincarnations. I think from Justice League Unlimited. And I thought they could work well. I mean, they were all Egyptian themed and stuff. So I'm gonna put this right down the middle because I like the first half, but I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the second half. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Oh, maybe I should have chosen a better candidate, but this one I think should work. But that's all I could find for Zenobia. Now I think maybe Star Wars would have been a better one because it has the Princess Leia in chains, but I thought maybe Justice League would have been was the best I could find or something. Yeah. Nah, anyways, The Golden Cricket Cage of Khan with Marco Polo Jr. Now this one is perhaps the shortest of all my Legends of the Hidden Temple crossover videos, lasting at only 1 minute, under a minute. And not exactly the biggest fan of it, to be honest. I thought it was because that was pretty lacking. Yeah, but it works out fine. And fun fact, the temple run in the Golden Cricket Cage of Khan is the absolute worst of them all. The contestants only went to 4 rooms, and the last contestant spent so much time in just those 4 rooms. She didn't bother going to any other room. She spent there, and I was just like, oh my god. Oh my god. And it was one of the 2 episodes where the players only entered 4 rooms, the least in the series. The other being Elizabeth's gold ship, but at least that one had an excuse. It ended by being captured by the guards rather than running out of time. And Elizabeth's golden ship is also notable for having the earliest temple run to end the soonest at only 1.5 minutes. Usually it's under a minute or a little bit over a minute, but this one is 1.5 minutes. But at least that one was excusable. But the Golden Cricket Cage of Khan, not a very lucky day to have that cricket. The Golden Cup of Belshazzar, I was a bit nervous at first because it's something about the Bible, and keep in mind, I'm not a religious guy, but I think the candidate I found, which is a Hanna-Barbera animated series or shorts called Stories from the Bible, and I think it worked out pretty well, so I'm just going to place it over here. I think I could have done a bit better with the editing of the Golden Cup, or maybe some scenes with Belshazzar being angry and stuff. But aside from that, I think it's good overall. The Golden Earring of Harry Morgan with Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the second time I used Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, Harry Morgan wasn't represented well, but that legend did mention something about the Caribbean. So honestly, that's all I have to say, really. Jack Sparrow has plenty of, I'm not sure if he has earrings, but he does have plenty of makeup and jewels and stuff around his head. So, yeah, I think he's not bad. I think what I've chosen is not bad, but maybe I could have done better. And that video I made was just before I saw, was my preparation for Pirates of the Caribbean 5, The Dead Man Tell No Tales, aka Salazar's Revenge. Now, Attila the Hun, the Golden Goblet with Hysteria. Now this one I think is the better of the bunch, but again, I should have seen more Hysteria episode because there was another one that I completely forgot where Attila the Hun is actually holding onto a golden goblet. I was like, oh man, I should have seen more Hysteria episodes. Then I would have chosen that. Then I could have went with it forwards because, oh man, that was a missed opportunity. But aside from that, I think it's pretty good. The Golden Jaguar Alibaba with Franz and the Happy Days games. Did you know that Hanna-Barbera made an animated series based on the Happy Days series? He's in the 1980s, and it features a dog named Mr. Cool, and it was originally supposed to be a Doctor Who animated series, but they couldn't get the license to Doctor Who. So that was like the closest they have ever made. And it's also a show about time traveling, and they actually did go to the Incas or the South American and Golden Place, but this one I'm not exactly biggest fan of, so I'll just place it over here. I mean, the Golden Dragon Award is not there, but I just see the episode for yourself and make your own judgments about it. See that video. Oh, it's available. It's called Fonz Happy Day Gang and Golden Jaguar, something like that. The Golden Pepperoni of Catherine de Medici with the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Olmec pepperoni? Is that the best you got? Were the writers eating a lot of pepperoni when writing that episode of Legends? Only such a silly story requires a silly show for that telling, so I chose the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And I mean, it may be a bit jumbled, but I think it's the best I could do. So I think putting this over here. This one, Robert the Bruce, with also Horrible Histories 2001. Now, there was an actual legend that Robert the Bruce did see a spider trying to spin its web, but failing twice, but then spun it again, and it managed to hold on, thus giving us the phrase, "At first you don't succeed, try again." But that wasn't displayed in the Horrible Histories episode, so I had to find another clip for a spider. Thankfully, there was a BBC documentary about a spider who was able to create a gigantic web in Madagascar. I think it's about as tall as a human being, or even longer. And I thought, is enough for me to use for this crossover with Legends. So I'm just gonna put this right over here. The Golden Stallion of Alibaba. Now this was one of the 2 episodes of the Legends of the Hidden Temple crossover series that. Now before how do I say this? In 2013, I only made 2 episodes, the one with Magellan and the one with Paul Bunyan. It wasn't until 2016 when I decided to do this again, and one of my startings was the Golden Stallion of Alibaba. And the one thing that popped in my head the most was Aladdin and the King of Thieves. And because there was a stallion in it, another thing that was popping in my head is Twilight Scepter. Yes, Twilight is a foal and not is a mare and not a stallion. But I thought of including that Twilight Scepter head as a bit of a novelty. And I think it works out pretty fun. Although there was a better candidate, which is equally as silly, but I don't think a lot of people would like me for using that. It's called Alabama and the Gold Raiders. Have you heard about that movie? It's terribly animated, but it does have somebody who forgets about the password, and I think it would work better. It would have worked better for this Legends retelling, but I'm sure not a lot of people would like that. So how many have I got? Still a lot more to go. All right. So next stop is the Golden Compass. Now, admittingly, I was very nervous because I heard the Golden Compass is not very well beloved, especially from fans of the actual Golden Compass book. So I had to be very careful on using in that movie. But the Good Luck Watch of Empress Eugene is also something that's not super represented. So I thought the Golden Compass would be the closest I could pick. I don't know what else to say about it, so I just put it right over. But I think I was pretty pleased with it in the end. The helmet of Genghis Khan. Don't really like, but it has its perks. Like it does have the Genghis Khan and the other guy. I mean, I was supposed to use another an animated movie by Mondo of Genghis Khan, but I think that one didn't click very well for me, so I decided not to use it. The helmet of Joan of Arc with the Simpsons. Now this is the last of my Simpsons crossover and admittedly it's pretty good. Maybe I should have. It didn't have the helmet part. I mean, Lisa was seen without a helmet, but I think it. Actually, no, I did see Lisa with a helmet, but I don't think they showed the helmet part very well. So, but aside from that, I think it's fine. Okay, what's next? Empress Theodora. Now, after my trip to the Kaloxi Temple and my sudden thought of the Bug's Life for Emiliano Zapata, immediately I decided to use Star vs. the Forces of Evil after I suddenly became addicted to it while watching it on the hotel's TV. And I decided, you know what? It's worthy enough for me to use Empress Theodora. Heck, there's a line where she said running out of those town by those rats. And in Star vs. they actually had episodes that feature rats. So I was thinking, yeah, I think it works out pretty well. So I'm putting it as one of my absolute favorites. And even the king acting, oh my gosh, I think it works well with King River, that's it. Ah, yes, the ivory hunting horn, the ivory elephant of Scheherazade. There are, sorry, there's a bit of an itchy nose. Scheherazade is a tale that's been told but the best one that sticks in my head the most is Scooby-Doo and the Arabian Nights. I do remember another one, it was 1001 Rabbit Tales for Looney Tunes, but I think Scooby-Doo is the best take on it. There is no elephant though, so I had to use that cake as the elephant. So I'm putting this as that. The ivory hunting horn of Roland, and with Sophia the First. The Roland part, I'm not sure. Was it based on a poem or did Roland actually exist? I can't remember, but Roland is. But I've always wanted to try the ivory hunting horn of Roland. I don't know. I was so fascinated by that legend that I wanted to do something about it. So I looked over and I tried finding something, but the closest, for some reason, while I was watching, so when I was, and due to an angry comment or copyright takedown, I was rewatching Sophia the First just to keep me calmed down. I needed something a bit calming and cheerful in my life after getting over something anger-inducing. So after rewatching some Sophia the First episodes, I was like, her father is King Roland. I might as well use that for the ivory hunting horn of Roland. So not bad, but there could have been better candidates, but it's not bad. The Jeweled Encrusted Egg of Catherine the Great, Clone High. Now, admittedly, I should have waited until that BBC show or movie about Catherine the Great was released, so I could have used that instead. I mean, Clone High doesn't feature the clone of Catherine the Great much, but that was the closest I could find at the time. I had to do a bit of improvisation. Now, the Jeweled Encrusted Egg of Catherine the Great was the final episode produced in Legends of the Hidden Temple. After that, there was no more. And there was going to be a season 4 in 2021, but or 2020, but with the recent closure of Quibi, the show is probably canceled. So where do I put this? Somewhere debatable. I could have chosen better candidates, but this was the closest I could find at the time. The Jeweled Necklace of Montezuma. I was a bit nervous at first because this was my second time using Road to El Dorado, but the fact that it has a character named Hernan Cortez, which is also used in the Legend and Road to El Dorado, I thought, looks fine. But I think I should have edited a bit better with the Cortex's eyes when cha-ching, 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 or the rebelling into the city part. I should have worked that a bit better. So I'll put it over here. Next stop we have the Jewel Scabbard of Katharina Sforza. I came across Nella the Princess Knight by accident. I was watching a SpongeBob Halloween stop motion episode, and she was popping a sheep, and an advert for her popped up, and it's pretty good. I thought she matched fine, so I put this on my good side. The keys to the Alhambra. A little fun fact, fellas. When I was a toddler, when I was a year old, I've been to the Alhambra. I don't remember being there because all I remember was having chicken pox, but my mom told me I did go to the Alhambra. And maybe when the pandemic is easing up, I'll probably have another trip there. Now, because I couldn't find anything Alhambra related, I was just watching the Equestria Girls episode. These shorts, these 30-minute shorts about something magic, dance magic, movie magic, or something like that. And for some reason, when I saw the medieval or Arabian settings, which was actually from a film, it was supposed to be like Indiana Jones, and the fact that it has keys, I was like, I guess it could work well with the keys to the Alhambra. So I'm just going to put this right over here. It's pretty good, if a bit flawed here and there, but I think it works fine. The Leopard Skin Cloak of Annie Oakley. Are you familiar with the song Anything I Could Do Better, I Could Do Anything Better Than You? It came from the movie Annie Get Your Gun. And immediately I chose that movie for this. Yes, there are some scenes that didn't quite match, like the German, the cigarettes thing. But aside from that, I think it works pretty well. It's not my absolute, not one of my big favorites, but I think it works out pretty well. Maybe there were better candidates, but that was the closest. Nostradamus, the levitating dog leash with cat dog. So I came across this. This was another accidental. I was looking up Nostradamus, and knowing that Cat Dog did an episode about Nostradamus, well, actually Nostradummy, I decided, you know what, might as well use it since it has cat dog, and this legend is about a levitating dog leash. I thought it would work out pretty well. And heck, there was an episode where there was a leash being held by a butterfly. It almost looks like it's levitating, so I thought, might as well work out fine. I did choose a few more episodes of Cat Dog to help with the story, but I think it worked out pretty well. Clovis the First with Asterix. When I was looking at that legend, the Clovis the First, I was thinking to myself, why does that sound so familiar? The Clovis, the founder of France, defeating the Romans, creating a French kingdom, going against the Germans. I was like, isn't this Asterix? I mean, Asterix is the Gauls, they were the French, and they fought against the Romans for the freedom of their kingdom and stuff like that. It's definitely Asterix, and immediately I chose. It's one of my big favorites. The lion-headed, was it bracelet or something? It was something about Chandragupta, or how do you pronounce it? I can't remember. Now, because it wasn't represented well in media, I could only find, the closest I could find was Lampert the sheepish lion, because the legend is about sleeping just in the night with some herds, just like just like Lampert. There was a ferocious creature about to attack him, and just like Lampert sheeped. Yeah, it works out pretty. I think it works out pretty well. I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, this one was another highly requested one. People have been asking me to use the lion slash jacket of Sacagawea with Night at the Museum, and I managed to fulfill it. And it is currently it is the second most viewed of my Legends of the Hidden Temple crossover series. But even so, it's pretty far away from the John Henry part. Like I said, it's only 30,000 views, while John Henry is like 300,000. I think I could have worked. For me, it wasn't my absolute favorite, so I'm just gonna put this as. I think I'm gonna put this as debatable because the way I use the lions is not very. I don't think I did it very well. I don't think I did the lions part very well. But I think the legend was pretty scary. I mean, the way the lion had the red eyes in the legend, I was legit frightened of that legend. Yes, the hornpipe of the pirate captain. Now, at first I thought the John Greenwood story was fake, but then somebody told me, it's not fake. Somebody actually did write it down somewhere. I was like, okay. So, and immediately when I think of the pirate captain, the first thing that pops in my head was The Pirates, Band of Misfits, aka An Adventure with Scientists. That film was my inspiration for the Skyrates in the Band of Misadventures with Pony Transformers and Mr. Man. And in fact, it was made by Aardman, the creators of Wallace and Gromit, and I thought it was I adore that movie. So is one of my absolute favorites. No, not this one. This one I regret. It's the Lost Lion Tale of Little John. First of all, the Little John legend is completely fake. It is not existent. It is non-existent. And the story, Jean Lemaitre does not exist, and Pierre Chappé did not exist. I really did not like this one. I could only find clips of Powerpuff Girls and I could only find clips from Powerpuff Girls 2016 for the Wildcat part. This was a jumbled up mess. This one I regret. I should have known better with this one. I should have chose something else. And here's the first of my Legends of the Hidden Temple videos I ever made. The Lost Logbooks of Magellan with Animaniacs. And because it was only a 2 or 3 minute video, I had to work with whatever I could, and it paid out pretty fine. There was no gun or thing, but it did. But aside from that, it worked out pretty fine. So because it's one of my first, I'm putting it as one of my favorites too. Yes, the one with the Lost Love Letter of Captain John Smith with Pocahontas. Yes. Yeah, it works out pretty well too. Not great, but actually, it's pretty. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I did have to take notes. I did have to take in clips from the abysmal sequel, which is Journey to the New World, but it seems to fit in pretty well. I should have chose something else for. Yeah, this one I'm not happy with. Yes. Actually, it does have a few perks. I like the part where he goes, "No, I don't know. I haven't seen it," and I used the nanny part. I think it fits too well. And it does have the Taj Mahal and the evil vizier thing, but aside from that, I'm not really the biggest fan of this. It's on my lower. Sorry, it's a bit of mosquito. Yes, the Lost Whalebone of Pythias. I actually remember watching that that episode of the Flintstones, the one where they go fishing and there was a big whale? I actually remember seeing that as a kid, and Lord and man, I actually did that. That memory stood in my head for many years. And I thought, hey, it's perfect. This is perfect, and it's one of my, and I'm putting it as a favorite of mine. The Lucky Medallion of Atocho with Little Poncho Vanilla. I think it could have worked better, but I think it's not bad. But I think it could have worked. I could have done better with it, but it's not bad. But maybe I should have chosen something else. Maybe I should. I don't know. I don't know really. This one is. I think this one matches perfectly. There was a Wonder Falls episode that actually was a bit of a retelling of the Annie Taylor story with the going through Niagara Falls in a barrel. And I thought that episode matched perfectly. So I don't know where to put this. Is it? I think there are almost no flaws with that episode whatsoever. It's not my absolute favorites, but there are almost no flaws in it, so I think I must label it as such. The Marble Armrest of Xerxes. This one was another request. Yes, people wanted me to use 300 because it has a person named Xerxes, and I thought it worked fine, but there are some clips where I probably should have watched the whole movie of the sequel in order to fully understand it. But the copy I got was a Spanish. I don't know why. I didn't bother. I only skipped to some parts I liked, and that's about it. But I think I'm pretty proud of it. And when I tried doing that Sparta remix with Olmec thing, people groaned. They're like, "Oh man, it's so old school. Do you still do this?" This one, Mask of Shaka Zulu. I probably should have chose something else. The only reason I chose the Mask of Shaka Zulu was because of Aku Aku. That's about it. I'm actually not sure why I chose this one. Maybe because Cortex created Crash so badly, just like those other tribes treated Shaka and his mother badly and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe this one. I don't know. It has its perks like the mask thing. And fun fact, the Mask of Shaka Zulu, the run was the quickest win in all of history. But that was mainly because of a production goof. The door was not supposed to open. The doorway to the thing was not supposed to open from the shortcut. It was a production error. Yeah. But it was still the quickest in history. Second would be the ivory the ivory hunting horn of Roland, but that would be the quickest by a fair run. This one was another request, the Mask of the Man in the Iron Mask with DuckTales, because there was an episode of DuckTales called The Duck in the Iron Mask. Instantly it fitted perfectly. But then I got a comment complaining that I should have used not the other Iron Mask movie, or there was an animated one, or there was even a live action one, and I should have chose that instead. But I think the DuckTales one is fine as it is. The Medal of Sir Edmund Hillary with wild thornberries. Fun fact: the Sir Edmund Hillary legend was the most recent Legends of the Hidden Temple was ever taught, and Sir Edmund Hillary at the time was the only person alive during that Legends episode. He passed away in 2008, and it was a request, but I think it was a smashing request. Yes, I thought it fitted perfectly with the Himalayas, the mountains, and other things. Oh, fun fact, fellas. My grandmother actually met Sir Edmund Hillary's guide, Tenzing Norgay. She was on a trip to India, and she was in India on a trip to England, and she actually did meet Tenzing Norgay. And she also did meet the Queen of England. So, man, was it... did I get a great lame claim to fame. And because of that, I'm putting that as one of my favorites. There's the Marie Tussaud. Oh. Now, I only chose this because Count Duckula had an episode about Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. I did go there, but I wasn't exactly happy with the Chamber of Horrors, because I thought it was pretty scary, so I bailed out at the last minute. But Marie Tussaud, I think it works very well. Sorry, my nose is so itchy today. But I'm not sure, man, because this is the only thing I could find that's wax museum related or something. And I think I'm gonna put this right in the middle. Definitely better than the Aurangzeb one, but I'm not sure. Now, the metal beard of the Egyptian queen with papyrus. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has nothing to do with Undertale. There's an actual Egyptian character named Papyrus. Maybe it was based on an actual person in Egypt, but aside from that, it was an animated show, just random. That's it. Yeah, I thought it was. Might as well use it for. Papyrus. So, yeah, it's good. Now, this one was a request. Originally, I was supposed to have the Milk Bucket of Fetus with How to Train Your Dragon with Astrid, but somebody on the internet asked me to use SpongeBob instead with Sandy Cheeks. This left me scratching my head. I was like, really? I was like, alright. Well, it looks pretty silly and stuff, but looking back at it, I'm like, why did I accept that person's request? So I think I'm just gonna put it right here. At least it has the Vikings and thing, but I think I should have went with How to Train Your Dragon instead. Could have that those outcasts as the Skraelings instead. Yes, Michelangelo, the Missing Eye of David with the Ninja Turtles. I'm surprised the Ninja Turtles, the 1987 one, had an episode, had a season where they take place in Europe, and one of the episodes takes place in Italy with Michelangelo the statue, and Mikey here was happy about it. So and I'm pretty pleased with that episode too. So and speaking of sculpting and artists, Hans Holbein's Missing Portrait, and with How to Train Your Dragon and the TV series. I found this. I was just when I was rewatching some episodes to see if I can find something for Freydis. I stumbled upon this episode by accident, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I remember seeing that episode. When back in 2012, and when I was rewatching the Hans Holbein episode, I was like, why does that look so familiar? Just like the Bugs Life one. And I was like, looking back at the How to Train Your Dragon episode, I was like, oh, it matches perfectly. Might as well use that. So, it's one of my faves. Okay, we've only got 124. We only got about less than 40 remaining, or less than 50 remaining, so 45. We're seeing weather maps of Charles Lindbergh with Donald Duck. This one was another one. Now, at first I didn't want to do a crossover with this one because they actually did use some old clips of Charles Lindbergh, actual filmed footage of Charles Lindbergh. They actually played it, but the more I thought about it, the episode with Donald with the plastic plane episode, I thought it would fit fine. The only thing I'm not too happy with is the ending. I should have used the scene. I should have used the episode where the robot butler goes, "Your Hetzer," as the museum part. I could have done that. but I'm pretty happy with everything else about it. Yeah, the Geronimo episode of Peabody Improbable History with the moccasins of Geronimo. Um, I don't know what to say about it really. Might as well put this. Um, yeah, I'm putting it right over here. Not very fond of it, but it works pretty fine. Sir Gawain, the much heralded helmet with the Legend of Prince Valiant. Admittedly, I didn't know about this cartoon, but when I watched the episodes that feature Sir Valiant, Sir Gawain, which by the way is voiced by Tim Curry, I thought, it looks pretty good. I watched a few more episodes just to get an idea about it, and it worked out pretty well in the end. So, put it right over here. The mummified hand of the Egyptian king. Back when I was a kid, I was a bit of a fan of mummies alive. Sure, it was kind of a ripoff of gargoyles and Ninja Turtles, but I think it looked. But I didn't care. I liked seeing mummies in action. And when the mummy hand of the Egyptian king popped, and I was like, what can I use for that? Should it be King Ramses from Courage the Cowardly Dog, or should it be from Mummies Alive? Since one of the characters has a stone arm when he's transformed, and when he's not transformed, he's missing an arm. So I thought that would fit well with the mummified hand of the Egyptian king, which is another scary legend. According to legend, the mummy still searches for the hand in the temple. And I'm like, is he hiding somewhere? Is he still walking about? Oh, that's scary. The mushpot hat of Johnny Appleseed. Now, unlike the Pickles Bill episode, this one I actually fully paid attention with Johnny Appleseed, the episode, and I thought it was pretty good. And I had a good enough knowledge to use Johnny Appleseed. So I'm going to include him in the. It didn't have the battle part, and didn't have the Native Indian thing, but it did have. Actually, I'll put this for favorites. But it did have something I really adore. It did have the mushpot hat part down. The muscle-shelled armor of Nakpanukpak with Spore. Just like my Kikloxi Temple episode, this is one I had to do by myself. In this case, use the game of Spore. Since Spore lets you create your own creatures, your own adventures, your own buildings and settings and stuff, I thought maybe I use Spore. I couldn't think of anything else that would fit for Apanukpak. Couldn't find anything Alaskan, Eskimo related. The legend is there. It is written somewhere, but I couldn't find the Apanukpak part represented in other media anywhere. So the best I could do was make a Spore reincarnation of it. And I think it worked out pretty well. The mysterious manuscript of Mary Shelley with Gadget Boy's Adventures in History. Now, this is one of the legends I was hoping to find as soon as I heard about it. Ever since I learned about Mary Shelley and Frankenstein at school, I wanted to do something Mary Shelley, Frankenstein related about it. I found the story quite fascinating. That she actually she either got this idea of the legend in a dream, she either went to the castle of Frankenstein that gave her the inspiration in Germany, or within the legend, they say she was hiding in a cabin and then some weird guy sent him a manuscript. Though that's probably not true. That's probably what happened in her dream. But aside from that, I'm just gonna stop rambling. I absolutely love this episode. The only part I probably didn't like is when Mary Shelley was reading the Secret Life and Death of Victor Frankenstein. I should have used a better scene for that. But aside from that, I'm pretty happy. The spell book of the Imperial Wizard with Mortal Kombat. Hint. When I was looking at the Imperial Wizard, I was like, wait, it's about sorcery, death, resurrection, Asian Oriental mythologies and stuff, and about wizardry. And I was like, this is Mortal Kombat. This is about Mortal Kombat. It's about death, resurrection, and Chinese or Asian mythology, sorcery. This is Mortal Kombat. And immediately I thought it fit. Now the book is not in the Mortal Kombat thing, but I did think it fit fine. Although maybe I should have waited until I got my hands on Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat or maybe I should have gotten clips from Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 11 and waited for that instead. But for the most part, I'm pretty proud. And a fun fact: in the Blackbeard Chief episode, one of the contestants said what Kirk Fogg said to him, "What's your favorite game?" And he said, "Mortal Kombat 2." He said, "Oh, Mortal Kombat 2 sounds like a tough player." And that episode came out a month before the ESRB rating board was made, and Mortal Kombat was solely responsible for the ESRB rating to be made. The Oracle Bowl of Delphi with Skylanders. This one, some people asked me to. Somebody on the internet wanted me to do a Skylanders crossover with Legends. I didn't think I would find it, but then looking at the Oracle Bowl of Delphi, I thought, might as well go with it. I mean, the funny thing that the way D. Bradley Baker, the guy who voices Omax, made Croesus sound, it's trying to make him sound like the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. Ed Wynn, the type of silly voice that you would hear in some the type of voice he often performs. And many characters have been an inspiration for that, including Arbo from Skylanders, King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph, Wally Gator from Hanna-Barbera, Go, Choose Goose from Adventure Time, the list goes on. Now, because it has Oracle, it's kind of like the Oracle squid creature from Skylanders Giants, and the Fortune Teller. I took notes from the games and Skylanders Academy. I thought, it could work fine. But despite the fact it's from Skylanders, I think I could have chosen something better. So, not bad, but I could have worked better. The Leonardo da Vinci with Gadget Boy's Adventures in History. Maybe I should have chosen something else with Leonardo da Vinci instead of, So I'm going to put this at not very fond of, but it works fine. That's all I'm going to say, really. The Rani of the Janzi Ji Rani with pearl necklace of warrior. Now this one I was hoping to find an episode about something that represents the Rani of Jhansi. I couldn't find it, but then I remember this Indian movie. I took a peek at it, and it worked out pretty well, so I used it. And heck, there was even a pearl necklace in it. So I think I'll put this right over here in one of my absolute favorites. The Pendants of Kamehameha. Originally, it was supposed to be either Dragon Ball because of the name Kamehameha, or the Secrets of Nim, which is somebody requested. But when I was rewatching Moana, I was like, wait a minute, a hook-shaped ivory pendant that represented his power in Polynesian islands, the god, cool, something like that. This is just like Moana. And thus, I chose Moana instead. And I absolutely adored it. The Kosarara, phone headdress of Kosarara with My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. This was the episode where I realized I don't have to truly stick with the legend. I can just use some random media that works pretty well for the story. I mean, when I did The Broken Wing of Icarus, I found a clip that actually had Icarus in it, or Alibaba. I actually had something with the 40 Thieves, or Paul Bunyan and Animaniacs with Magellan. But with the Kosarara part, since that wasn't very represented, the The closest in my head was My Little Pony because Kosarara had something about a horse and a plume headdress. And the first thing that was popping in my head is, what about that hat Rarity put on Sweetie Belle's hat in Ponyville Confidential? Does that work pretty well? That was what was popping in my head at first. So I think it was pretty good. I thought there was a bit of a novelty. I thought it's pretty good. Time Squad, the potbelly pig of Amelia Earhart. I was hoping to find something Amelia Earhart related. Time Squad had some episodes about going back in time, and funny enough, there was a pig in the Time Squad Amelia Earhart episode. So I thought this fitted fine, but I don't know. Maybe it might have there's a few snags, but yeah, I think it's all right. Not the greatest, but all right. The Priceless Portrait of the Polynesian Girl, and what was it? I Am Weasel. It was originally supposed to be for Moana, but I couldn't find a lot of paint, and it was also meant to be for the Smurfs, but I couldn't find a lot of painting or Polynesian island theming or something like that fit, or even something French related fitting in. So when I was rewatching some I Am Weasel episodes, I was like, I think it works fine. I think it works pretty well. The episode where where IR Baboon and Weasel do some painting, and the part where IR Baboon looks like Weasel's following Baboon like he was a native of something. I thought I Am Weasel worked fine. I loved coming back to it, so it's one of my absolute favorites. Tokugawa, the Red Sash of Tokugawa Ieyasu Time Warp Trio, just like the Nzinga ones also. But I think I went a little, this one I'm not sure if I did well. I did fine enough. Maybe, somebody complained there's a line in the Hidden Temple legend where it says, I am grounded by 2 weeks with no TV. I'm like, wait, that was TV during Tokugawa Ieyasu's time? I thought it was older than TV. The TV was around in the 1920s. So why exactly was the TV part mentioned? Anyways, because of that, I thought, well, Time War Trio kind of makes sense to include it would make sense with the TV line because the character I'm using, he comes from the future, so that kind of fits, I guess. And I think I'm just going to put it here. Not bad, but I think I could have done better. Maybe there is a better Tokugawa Ieyasu something. I don't know, but... Oh, man, this one I did not want to do. I did not want to use the Warrior Queen for the Royal Torque Boadicea, or Boudica, if you want it, as a proper name. She's got a lot of different names. Boudica, Boadicea, whatever. The movie I used features Emily Blunt as Queen Boudica, and the movie has a lot of taboos. I'm surprised somebody uploaded on YouTube and people are gay, and it's able to get away with so many naughty things. On DeviantArt there are some Loud House fans who created these arts where Lincoln becomes a little too obsessed with too attached with his sisters, or if you know about Chris Savino's other comic called Eddie Puss, yeah, something like that is in the bravest Queen Warrior movie with Emily Blunt. That was almost enough for me to not want to use that. But there were plenty of clips from the show from the movie that fitted fine. But I don't want to put this here because it does have some scenes that work. But I'm just gonna put it here. This is not something I want to rewatch. I had a better time with the Emoji Movie. No, seriously, I had a better time watching the Emoji Movie than that. Oof. Anyways, the Ruby of Zanzibar, which features Queen of Sheba and using this Old Testament cartoon. This is something random. I looked at it, I was like, it's random, it fits fine. Little did I know that it was made by the same people who made Tentaclino, aka In Search of the Titanic. Oh dear, oh dear. So I'm just gonna put this as here. This one's another one I kind of regret. Roxolana, the Scarlet Ring of Sultan Suleiman is also with Scooby-Doo and the Arabian Nights, but I couldn't find anything else with that features Roxolana or Sultan Saladin, and this one was the closest I could find, so I'm just gonna place it over here. The perk is these two that they work pretty well, but the Roxolana part, I think I need to work that part. Secret Battle Plan of Nathan Hale using Liberty's kids. Yeah, it works fine. Yeah, it works pretty well. Don't see a lot of flaws with this one. Oh, thank you, Nostalgia Critic, for introducing me to the Cowboys of Mumesa. Perfect candidate for me to use the secret map of Belstar. There was a map episode. Oh, there was plenty of episodes for me to use. I thought it looked pretty well. That's all I have to say, really. That's another favorite of mine. Now this one was requested. The dried, the shriveled hands of a Fua. There was an episode of Brandy and Mr. Winkers with the monkey's paws. And I thought, it fits well, but I also need a few other episodes to help me with it, like the first episode of Brandy. So I think it works fine. It wasn't a snake it wasn't a chimpanzee that retrieved the hand. It was a snake at the end I chose, but works fine. The Silk Sash of Mulan using the Mulan Disney film. Aside from the Silk Sash part, which wasn't featured in the movie, I'm perfectly happy with this one. Oh dear, this is one of the two episodes where I'm not sure if I like or don't. I might get some flack for using because of the controversial of using black characters played by non-black characters. For example, the Silver Cannonball of Brandy Nanny, who was a Jamaican woman, and using clips of Mickey Mouse, especially the ones where the minstrel show acting times. I was actually pretty scared, but yet when Mickey Mouse was being fired with the cannons in the Gulliver's Travel episode of Mickey, I thought it sort of worked fine. I thought it was enough, but I don't know. Maybe this one is it has it. I do like some of it, but I'm just not sure if it's I wonder if anybody would be rubbed off the wrong way with it. So I'm going to put this one in the middle. Grand the Silver Horseshoe of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. For some reason, when I think of train robbery, the Winnie the Pooh episode where Tigger and Pooh steal a train popped in my head the most. And it's a shame there isn't any lady who fawns over Winnie the Pooh, not even Kanga. But Winnie the Pooh is not really about love stories. Nobody has a crush on anybody. So, yeah, the horse bit can be a bit of a head scratcher, but I think it's pretty good. Now this one I chose not because of the legend of the historical figure or the item, which is the silver saddle horn of Hannibal, but I chose this basically for what it has, which is elephants. I chose Mike Luenard because it has something about elephants and the witch doctor, just like in the legend, and it's perfect. It works fine. I'm just going to place it here. It just works fine. Not great, not excellent. It's good. Not bad. Maybe there was a better show that had a telling of Hannibal properly, but that's about it. Now, this is the one I absolutely adore, but I also am aware that it may rub people off the wrong way because just like the Grandee Nanny Mickey Mouse thing, this one is another where I casted a non-black character as a black character. In this case, the smash printing print of Frederick Douglass with Ed, Ed, and Eddie, with Double D as Frederick Douglass. But I chose that part because I was so looking forward to finding something newspaper related, and because Ed and Eddie actually has a printy press thing. I mean, can't you see over here? I thought this fitted fine. I mean, and there was an episode of Ed and Eddie called Truth or Ed where the Eds are printing their own stories in newspapers. I thought this would fit well. In fact, that episode is a better newspaper told story than My Little Pony's Ponyville Confidential, The Poop Scoop from My Gym Partner's a Monkey, and even SpongeBob SquarePants' The Krabby Chronicle. I think Ed and Eddie is the best take on the newspaper episode. And this scene, that was enough for me to use for the Smash Pretty Print of Frederick Douglass. I absolutely adored this one, but I am aware that somebody is gonna be offended by my choice of casting. I mean, it is close to this, but it is one of my favorites. But it's close to this. But please, unless you can find me something else, another Frederick Douglass thing, I probably would have done it fine. Did the Prophet me do something like that? I can't remember. Cleopatra, the snake bracelet of Cleopatra, Monster High. This one was another debatable one. I actually was able to stomach Monster High fine. At first I was kind of embarrassed because the only girly show I really adored was My Little Pony. But after watching a few shorts of Monster High on TV, I thought it was pretty swell. I took a peek at Monster High and see if anything would work for the Cleopatra Hidden Temple, and there's a bit. Not a lot, but quite enough. It has a few. There are some bits I didn't like maybe casting Frankenstein as Esmeralda. Maybe I should have chosen some else, but she did feel like she is mistreated. But since Frankenstein feels like she's been pushed over by Cleo Denial, I think she would be fine as Esmeralda. The swimming, the Legend's tail was pretty weird as well. So I guess Monster High is the best I could teach for this one. The snakeskin boots of Billy the Kid with Uncle Grandpa. This is an episode I remember watching as a kid, the Legends episode, that I actually remember an actual win. I remember seeing it as a kid, and it was the first one I actually remember seeing to actually end in a win, winning the grand prize. And I came across this Uncle Grandpa episode by accident. I was just watching a bit of TV. There was an episode which parodies the spaghetti western, and Billy the Kid is actually Pizza the Kid was featured. And I was like, good enough, I guess. Yes. And I actually like it. I was actually nervous because not a lot of people liked Uncle Grandpa. I mean, at the time, people liked Teen Titans Go more than Uncle Grandpa. But I guess that's a bit of reverse nowadays. I mean, I know I guess nowadays more people like Uncle Grandpa more than Teen Titans Go, but I digress. The snow cone of Mount Kilimanjaro with Timon and Pumbaa. The Reverend Charles New thing may be true, but the snow cone part is just a bunch of malarkey. So in order to find something, I had to find something else pretty silly, but also Kilimanjaro or mountain climbing related. And thankfully Timon and Pumbaa had something like that. I mean, they had episodes where they take place in the snow, and I thought it worked out pretty well. And a bit of bonus points for incorporating the lion, the leopard part in the Hidden Temple. Okay, the star of Sultan Saladin with this Saladin TV series made in Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia actually had a TV series about Sultan Saladin, him, where he goes on a crusade against Richard the Lionheart. Watching the show, there are English versions. I did see the English version of this. Oh boy, the dubbing is terrible. Why does everybody have an American accent? Even the British? So, it has a little bit of a flaw, but I think it's pretty good. The Stolen Arm of Shiva with Sly Cooper. Because I couldn't find anything Shiva related except Mortal Kombat, but that's not a statue. And one thing that popped in my head was the Sly Cooper episode with Rajan, the Indian episodes, the Clockwork Wings. I thought that was enough to include that. So I really like that one, and I like that one too. So the Stone Head of the Evil King with the 2010 Clash of the Titans one. I'm actually thinking about making another version of this one, but this time with the 1981 version of Clash of the Titans, because I heard not a lot of people like the 2010 version, and I can definitely see why. Not even the director of the movie likes it. He said the 3D is awful. The CGI, it's not my movie. Good thing he went on to direct better projects like The Incredible Hulk and Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. I thought maybe if I made a version 2 of this one, but with the 1981 Clash of the Titans, I think it would also work. I think it would work a lot better. But even still, Clash of the Titans 2020 is a guilty pleasure of mine, and it was my primary inspiration for the Clash of the Skylanders animation. So I'm going to put this one in my absolute favorite. I am aware of how bad the movie is, but it's a guilty pleasure. And this one was the Stone Marker of Leif Erikson. And how many of you know about Leif Erikson without thinking about SpongeBob SquarePants? How many of you can think about Leif Erikson without saying Hinga Dinga Durgan? But for me, I chose Leif Erikson. Thankfully, I watched a lot of SpongeBob, so I had a lot of clips to use, including even some of the post-movie ones like SpongeBob versus the Big One, and Texas, and something. And I think this one works better than my Fridas one, so I'm putting this as one of my absolute favorites. The Thornwood Gavel of Judge Roy Bean, with the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The first time I've heard about Judge Roy Bean was a parody character named Judge Roy Spleen. Immediately, that fitted perfectly, and I just wanted to just to show off my love for Fred Burger more. So it's another absolute favorite of mine. The Treasure Planet of Jean Lafitte. And this was my 100th crossover with the Hidden Temple. And while it worked pretty well, I think there were better Treasure Island adaptations I could have chosen instead, like Muppets Treasure Island or the 1982 Bulgarian animated film, also known as Treasure Planet or The Treasure Planet. But if you see that film, it is insane. So bizarrely animated, so janky. It has to be seen to be believed. Don't believe me? Ask Animat or Electric Dragon 505. He'll tell you about it. So where do I put this one? Well, it has a few flaws. I think the cabin boy part I could have worked better, but I think it's pretty good. Now here's an interesting one. The Treasure of Anne Bonny using Aberfex under the Black Fat, also known as the Pirates of Toruga or Togunra or something like that. I've heard about this movie. I remember hearing about it as a kid, under the name of Aberfex under the Black Flag. I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, it was made in Germany. There was an English version, but I all I could find was a Spanish dub of it. So I didn't know how to properly work with it. So I did the best I could. So I'm just gonna put it as not bad, but I could have done better. And at least it has an actual person named Bonnie in the show. So see, I've only got 8 more to go. And the Trojan Horse Shoe. So after rewatching the Hercules TV series, knowing that there was an episode about the Trojan horse, the war thing, we all know about the Trojan horse. Remember the gifts from the Greeks? It's a giant horse. They pull in the castle, then they attack Greece. Then the Greeks attacked Troy and they destroyed the city. And this one I think fits fine. So I like it very much. So I'm putting it as one of my favorites. Napoleon, the 2-cornered hat of Napoleon Bonaparte with Hammerman. How many of you know about Hammerman, the infamous cartoon featuring MC Hammer? And there's a character named Rap-Polion. Get it? He's like Napoleon, but he raps. But the Legend of the Hidden Temple's telling of Napoleon was pretty silly. It's more about him having a conversation with his right-hand man, and rather than about Napoleon's life, not about Waterloo, not about his attack on Britain or something like that. It's more about just arguing about his hat, or how his name, is he a Holy Roman Emperor? Is he warrior of the Western world? Had to find something else pretty silly. So thankfully Hammerman made something silly about it. Not the best way, but I think it's pretty fitting. So I'm just going to put this over here. The Upside Down Compass of Henry Hudson. Now with Pocahontas, the Disney run, because I couldn't find anything Henry Hudson related except maybe the gargoyle Hudson, since he was named after the river, who was named after Henry Hudson. And the closest I could find was the Pocahontas one. Now, unlike the Captain John Smith episode where I used the Pocahontas 2 one, this one I used a lot from the original Pocahontas. I thought it fitted pretty fine. Yes, Radcliffe. I had to cast Radcliffe as Hudson, but I also casted Captain John Smith as John Hudson. They both have John as their first names. So where do I put this one? It has a compass, so I like it very well. Yes, the road to El Dorado with the useless map, the Chipta Chieftain. I don't have much to say about it. I just adore this one. El Dorado, just like the tale. Is it a myth? Is it a fib or something? The Taj Mahal, the very tall turban of Ahmed Baba. I don't know if the thing is real. All I could find from that legend, all I could find from Ahmed Baba is that he wrote a lot of books, but that's about it. So I'm not sure I'm not sure if it was fictional or not. But I thought P from the Cobbin fit fine because it's Middle Eastern setting, something like that. Maybe I should have chose Aladdin again, but I don't know, this one, maybe Jafar would have been a lot better, but yeah, I thought it works pretty well. So I'm just going to put this over here. Harriet Tubman. Just like the Galileo one, this is from the animated classic Heroes thing, so it works. It's pretty accurate, so this one's another favorite of mine. The War Fan of the 47 Ronin. So I took a peek at the 2013 film featuring Keanu Reeves, and looking at it, it's pretty accurate, except for the dragon. Like the dragon part, why did they include that in? And yes, the whole controversy of casting Keanu Reeves in the film, the thing of whitewashing, but I think it follows the story pretty well. Oh, it was enough for me to use it, and I like visiting it a lot, so I'm putting it over here. And now for the last one, Wild Bill Hickok. This is one of the funny ones. I mean, when during the Wild Bill Hickok and the Dead Man's Hand with Yosemite Sam the Looney Tunes. Now here's a little bit of inaccuracy. In the legend's telling, it says it was 3 aces and 2 eights, when in reality it's only 2 aces, 2 eights, and an unknown card. An unknown card with a hole in it, so nobody knows that's why they call it the Dead Man's Hand. And for this one, I thought this one was pretty funny. I mean, somebody even said to me during the tall and handsome part, it was pretty funny. And there you have it, fellas. My tier list. My absolute favorites are Alexander the Great with the Gordian Knot with Phineas and Ferb, The Simpsons with Elizabeth I, Galileo with the animated hero classics, Simpsons with Henry VIII, King Tut with the Three Stooges, Emiliano Zapata with A Bug's Life, the Buddha Temple with my trip, the Buddha with my trip to the temple in Penang, Dolly Madison with My Life as a Teenage Robot, Poseidon with The Little Mermaid, Icarus with Hercules, Time Warp Trio with Nzinga, Korra with the Dragon Lady, Kiss Next Door with Sojourner Truth, My Little Pony with the Mealy, Paul Bunyan with the Babe the Ox, Alibaba with Aladdin 3, Empress Theodora with Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Scheherazade with Scooby-Doo and the Arabian Nights, Nostradamus with Cat Dog, Asterix with Clovis I, the Pirates with the Pirates Band of Memphis with the Pirate Captain, Animaniacs with Magellan, Captain John Smith with Pocahontas, Pythias with the Flintstones, Annie Taylor with Wonder Falls, Man in the Iron Mask with DuckTales, Sir Edmund Hillary with the Wild Thornberrys, Missing Eye of David with Ninja Turtles, How to Train Your Dragon with Hans Holbein, Charles Limber with Donald Duck, Mummified Hand with the Mummies Alive, Johnny Appleseed with Disney, Apanupak with Spore, Mary Shelley with Gadget Boy, Imperial Wizard with Mortal Kombat, Pearl Warrior with John Z. Kirani, Kamehameha with Moana, Kosarara with My Little Pony, Price's Portrait with Lion Weasel, Nathan Hale with Liberty Kids, Secret Map with the Cowboys of Mesa, Shriveled Hand with Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, Silk Sasha Mulan with the Disney one, Printing Play with Ed, Edd and Eddy, Billy the Kid with Uncle Grandpa, Kilimanjaro with Timon and Pumbaa, Sly Cooper with the Shiva Stolen Arm, Clash of the Titans with the Stone Head of the Evil King, Leif Erikson with SpongeBob, Billy and Mandy with Judge Roy Bean, Trojan Horse with Hercules, Compass with Henry Hudson with Pocahontas, Road to El Dorado with the Useless Map, Harriet Tubman with the Classic Heroes, the 47 Ronin with the 2013 film, and the Wild Bill Hickok with Looney Tunes. The ones I think are good, but they do have their flaws, include Blackbeards with Pirates of the Caribbean, John Henry with Disney, Robin Hood with Disney, Into the West with Jedediah Smith, Pirate Family with One Eye Jack, Matahari with Looney Tunes, William the Conqueror with Transformers, Dr. Livingstone with Bill and Ted, Popeye with William Tell, Pinky and the Brain with Benjamin Franklin, Belshazzar with the stories from the Bible, Attila the Hun with Hysteria, Robert the Bruce with 2001 Horrible Histories, Good Watch with the Golden Compass, Simpsons with Joan of Arc, Sforza with Nella the Princess Knight, Keys to the Alhambra with the Equestria Girls, Lampred the Lion, the Sheepish Lion with Chandragupta, Xerxes with 300, Papyrus with Egyptian Queen. Wait, did I put Clovis? Wait, what happened to Clovis the First? Oh, there it is. Just in case I forget. Sir Gawain with Prince Valiant, Time Squad with Amelia, Old Testament cartoon with the ruby earring, Butch Cassidy with Winnie the Pooh, Cleopatra with Monster High, Sultan Saladin with the Malaysian TV series, John Lafitte with Treasure Planet, and Napoleon Bonaparte with Hammerman. The ones I think are not bad, okay, but I think I could have done a bit better with Lawrence of Arabia with G1 Transformers, Pickles Bill with Disney, Bellboy with Wonder Woman, Horrible Histories with the Crown of the Spanish King, Henry Morgan with Pirates of the Caribbean, Super Mario Brothers show with Catherine de Medici, Ivory Hunting Horn of Roland with Sophia the First, Montezuma with Road to El Dorado, Annie Get Your Gun with Annie Oakley, Medallion of Atocha with Pancho Vanilla, Oracle Bowl with Skylanders, Time War Trio with Tokugawa Ieyasu, Roland with Mike Lu, Hannibal with White Moo and Nog, and Bonnie with Aberfex Under the Black Fad, and Thief and the Cobbler with Taj Mahal with the Tall Turban. The ones I'm putting right in the middle, I'm not debating, is Family Guy with Blackfeet Chief, Davy Crockett with the Collar, Zenobia with Justice League Unlimited, Catherine the Great with Clone High, Sacagawea with Night in the Museum, Count Duckula with Madame Tussauds, and Grandy Nanny with Mickey Mouse. The ones I'm not very fond of, but they still work fine, is Peabody and Sherman with Peabody's Probable History with Geronimo and Ponce de Leon. They're tied. Marco Polo Jr. with the Golden Cricket Cage of Khan, and Gadget Boy's Adventures in History with Leonardo da Vinci. The ones I really don't like, but at least they do have their upsides, like Ivan the Terrible with Hysteria, the Golden Jaguar with Fonz and Happy Days Gang, Helmet of Genghis Khan with Time Squad, Aurangzeb with Count Duckula, Shaka Zulu with Crash Bandicoot, Fridas with SpongeBob, Boadicea with Warrior Queen, and Scooby-Doo and the Arabian Nights with Sultan Suleiman. But the ones I really regretted and I should have chose something else or find something else would be John Sutter or Bill Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Powerpuff Girls with Lost Tale of Little John. Thank you for joining me. Which one of these is your favorite and which one of them is your least favorite? If you haven't seen any of this, go down in the description below to see the videos themselves. Let me know which one is your favorite and which one is not your favorite. Which one do you think is okay? Which one do you think should have improved? Which one do you think I should have chosen instead of this ones? Let me know what you think. I hope you've enjoyed this video.